another week closer to college football. I think we are under. I think what were we 74 days, 73 days from kickoff. And when you put in those terms, hey, we're close. We're really close. Less than 3 months away. So 3 full months at least. So that's exciting. It's a big season with I think headlines both in Michigan and nationally. Some huge coaching changes. We got Chip Kelly. Yeah, Chip Kelly. Not Chip Kelly, but Brian Kelly. Excuse me, down at LSU. You got Lincoln Riley at USC. You got Ohio State. What's Ohio State going to do? Are they going to bounce back? They've taken some hits. They got a great test versus Notre Dame. You got Michigan. They're returning Big Ten champs for the first time since 2004. So I think about those things as we get closer to kickoff, and we got Texas A&M and this huge impact they made at recruiting, and this quote unquote beef that he has now with Nick Saban. How does Saban Alabama respond to losing the national title? Is Georgia going to repeat? I think there's a lot of interesting headlines going into this season. Now, if you really think about it, that it's like, wow, it could be a season of change, and definitely shocks. I believe that.
Okay, you said a lot there. So
sorry,
first,
I boveted there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, I wanted to make sure to address the first part because yes, we were like 70 some odd days from kickoff, and it is bittersweet for me because I love the warm weather in the summertime, but I also love football season as well. So it's kind of that conundrum of, it's good and bad. So yes, I there's nothing better than football season. But I do love the summertime. Living in Michigan, it lasts about 2 whole months, and then we're back to being pretty chilly again. So, yeah, no, and yeah, it'll be an interesting season. So excited to see how it goes. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm good, and with everything that Dre was running down there, I'm just trying to keep track. So I want to get this straight here. So Ohio State's needing to bounce back from the 11-2 season.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Look.
I agree with you, but I'm just trying to make sure we know what the standards are in both camps. So you'd be happy with an 11-2 season, right?
Yeah. Well, given the context how last season ended, yes, because you got to take steps. I think it'll be unrealistic for me to say, man, you better repeat or bust, or you better win 11 to 12 games or bust. No, I mean, you don't go from, to be honest with you, Mark, you don't go, and I could take it. You don't go from being a doormat of your biggest rival and them being the big dog on campus to flipping that and just after one win. You have to do it semi consistently. So I think Ohio State, based on the standard that y'all have set from your success, you're right. Last year was a colossal failure, and you need this year to quote unquote right the ship based on your standard.
Okay.
Mark, how do you feel about that comment?
Like it.
I kind of like that. I like having high standards, and despite what happened last year, I hear various things from Michigan fans in regards to what the standard is, or maybe a new standard, where Ohio State fans seem to be a little more, based on the feedback I get, seem to be a little bit more consistent in their perspective on, okay, what's a good season? What do we expect versus Michigan fans? And that's not a knock on Michigan fans because every individual has their own outlook on, but because there weren't championships before that, and now a lot of people have jumped to, well, the standard is you get to the playoff, and some others are more in your camp where, this is, we got to see this again. We got to see whether this takes hold and we're taking over the conference or not. A lot of your Michigan brethren, Dre, believe that Michigan's taken over the conference. And that's fine. They technically have. They're the champions.
Right. Well, no, I mean, you're look, for one year, we definitely had the crown. Look, I've been talking a lot of crap, especially to my father-in-law and that side of my family who are Ohio State fans. Because look, we were well aware of the history, but we are the champs as of now. I mean, you're a champion till you're not anymore. Till someone takes the crown. So absolutely, Michigan fans, we should walk around with pride and happiness and gloat because you deserve it. But at the same time, recognize the historical context with what it means and the impact and the changing of the tide. For there to be a true change of the tide, we need to win a couple more times. We need to reestablish ourselves as a true player for winning the Big Ten and beating Ohio State on a semi-regular basis. No, I didn't say all the time. I think that Ohio State's dominance of this series has been abnormal. Abnormal. It's for, I think, a rivalry to have the. And I know Mark in his stats. He'll probably go into seeing when Michigan got under Bowl. It was lopsided, but you would think the way as good as both these programs are, that it should be more of a little bit of a balance, right? And I would assume, Michigan, if they're humming even close to Ohio State's level in terms of consistency, that yeah, we should. What is it hard to ask for that we win 4 out of the next 10 years, right? Maybe Ohio State gets 6. Or something on that ratio. I can accept that. I think that's going or splitting. I think that's being on a even basis. I think it'd be too much to ask for. Oh, it's our time. Now we're going to kick you guys butts. Every year for the next 20 years. I just think that's unrealistic to expect. And if I was, I guess, an Ohio State fan 20 years ago, I think that would be ridiculous to expect that. Just out of respect for my opponent. So. That's just kind of where I look at it.
Yeah, the rivalries, I mean, when you look at them, for as evenly matched as Michigan and Ohio State are, in what I would consider pretty evenly matched, even though the results have been different, you would think that there would be more of a balance in the before last year, in that stretch. And like you mentioned, Dre, it has been abnormal because you look at even. Oklahoma, Texas. I mean, even though Oklahoma was winning the conference just again and again and again, a lot of times those games went back and forth. I think Kyler Murray, the year he was at Oklahoma, I think they lost to Texas in the regular season, but ended up beating them in the Big 10 or the Big 12 championship game. So even in that rivalry in 1 year, it's a 1-to-1 game. So. It definitely has been abnormal, but I think this year will be big for Michigan to see a couple things. Number one, how they handle that success. Like I've talked about it last couple of weeks of having that target on your back, and I know most Michigan fans are going to say that there always is one just because of the pride of the fan base and the team, and I do understand that, and I do think there was an element of that even before last year happened. But I think there's going to be another level to it because they're the defending Big Ten champions. And until a Big Ten champion is crowned by the end of December, you are still going to be that. So I think that brings another level of just having that target. So being able to handle that adversity and just handle that, just the perception that teams are really going to want to beat you. I mean, more so than they have before.
Say how it is. They want to go at your neck. That's just how it is. When you are the champion, teams want to take you out, and let's add an extra layer to it as well. Michigan as a fan base, as a university, sometimes our ways can rub some other programs and fan bases the wrong way. We're already seen as arrogant. We're seen as entitled, if you will, or not entitled. I would say not into reality, I guess, because we like to. Des, you send me a text how Alabama's gained on us for the total win, most wins program in the history of college football. So look, people want to see us go down. They like to see us down. Right. So, you best believe you're going to get everyone's best shot. And you know what? And I like that. I like it. It's much easier and fun to to get that kind of hate when you have something behind it. I like it now. I welcome it because you know what? No, fine, talk about us. We're the champions. You want to knock us off? Let's do it, right? Because now we finally have some substance, recent substance behind that hate, and you know, so uh, it's foreign territory though. It's definitely foreign territory in a long time for me as a fan, and it is for that program. How do they handle that? Are they able to instill that same level of consistency and focus week after week for these players? You know, are they hungry because they feel, look, once you get to the CFP, I would like to believe that, you know, you're like, we have a chance to win a national title. And when you lose in the CFP, it should hurt and you should feel like, you know what, we fell short. Not that, oh, we did everything we set out to do. Even if it was your goal at the beginning of the year, for like it was in Michigan, you know, a realistic goal. So I would hope that Donovan Edwards and Kay McNamara, JJ McCarthy, you know, Roddy Bell, who missed all year, he came back for a reason. All these guys, Blake Corum, you know, you know, I will hope that they come into the season fired up and feel like, you know what, we're not satisfied. We had a great year, but let's win the whole thing. You know, and I would like to see that intensity and that focus week after week. Don't mess around the first 3 to 4 weeks against that cupcake schedule. Blow the teams off the field and do it efficiently in the most dominant fashion as possible, right? Take that next step. Go with Iowa and win by 2 touchdowns, right? You know, 17 points. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I want to see.